Dirk, I have a question for you. Are you ready?
Hit.
Okay.
Yes.
We didn't speak about it in the last episode, but can you please tell me how proud of you of Daniel Ricciardo?
Oh, man. Mr. Spinaldo. What do I have to say about Mr. Spinaldo? Actually, jokes aside, I actually want to give the guy his flowers. I was honestly impressed with him this
I
weekend.
absolutely
Uh,
smoked Yuki and his comments.
what was Yuki
Well, he
doing?
was too busy getting 40,000 euro fines for calling people things that I will not mention. Anyways, welcome back to Break at the Apex, guys. It's very good to see you. Sorry for the very low energy start, but I just felt like it would be a nice little way to just get into it. This is supposed to be the fun episode, so I guess we should get the energy up. But let's just get straight into it because we all know what's about to happen. We are about to rate the drivers. But before we do that, we're going to get into the blooper of the week and our moment of the week. And well, to be honest, there's actually quite a lot of things for a race that was
Mm,
somewhat boring. There's quite a lot of things for both the moment and the blooper because there were so many things that happened over the entire weekend to choose from. Um, so Dirk, I'm going to ask you for your blooper of the week. We'll start with the blooper of the week first, and yeah, let's give me your blooper of the week. Let's go with that.
for me, honestly, there's a lot to choose from, but the thing that stood out for me the most is just like what the hell's going on is Aston Martin.
Oh,
The team as a whole. I mean, even when Lance Stroll has a good weekend and then he performs, even his good weekend was crap. You know, there's something wrong within that team, and it honestly, my heart breaks. We mentioned it after the previous Grand Prix about how sad it is to not see Alonso even battling for points, not even the front. But last season, this time he was a podium contender, and now he's coming 18th, driving the wheels off the car. I don't know what to say more about Aston Martin. I'm sad to see how badly they've fallen away from the front.
cool. Okay. Well, I mean that makes sense. And I might hurt your feelings a little bit here, considering you've just spoken about Alonso. You and I are both big Alonso fans. I guess that speaks for itself. So it already hurts to talk about him being sort of like part of the blooper. And to sort of hurt you a little bit even more, I wished BT was here. Ferrari, to me, were a blooper, and just the way they handled Leclerc. And really, I'm really starting to feel bad for this kid because everything seems to go against him. It's always him. Like, it's always Leclerc. When something goes wrong at Ferrari, it's
Yeah.
always Leclerc. It's never anybody else that's driving. It's always Leclerc.
That's true.
And I don't know, like, I guess at some points, you would say it wasn't Ferrari's fault in certain situations, but in so many situations, Ferrari just messed up like big time. So, quite honestly, yeah, I don't know. That to me, I just feel like these are tracks that Ferrari need to be capitalizing on. You know, they've got pace in their car.
Yes.
They've got the pace somewhere. Like it's been there. So either they've just stuffed up their car somehow, or I don't know, but they've got pace in their car.
Actually, Fred Vasseur said they're having the same struggles as RB right now, where the upgrades are working, but they can't figure out how to optimize
Yeah, fair.
them, and that's what they're busy working towards. So he said it, I think, after free practice three, after the sprint race.
Yeah,
He mentioned that it's just they can't seem to figure out to optimize them to the best of their potential. Charles and Carlos know the car has got McLaren slash Red Bull level pace. They just haven't figured out how to get that pace out of the upgrades. So, but I'm not trying to defend them. Neither Carlos or Charles did something wrong this weekend. It was just Ferrari as a team. They weren't very well structured this weekend. It felt sloppy, and like you say, it's always Leclerc.
yeah.
It's always
It's always
Leclerc.
Leclerc.
And I'm on the point Matt Gallagher does and just buy a random Haas or Red Bull t-shirt and just be like, just put the cap far away in the cupboard until Ferrari win a race again because it feels like they used up all
Yeah,
their good chi for Monaco, and they're just like, okay, for the rest of the season, we're doing an Aston
I'll tell you
Martin.
honestly, like I know some people get annoyed by it, but Matt's reactions to Leclerc blunders just never get old. They never get old.
Never do.
But listen, I think at the end of the day, I think, yeah, Ferrari, I don't know. Ferrari is known to dip throughout the years. And I really thought that this was going to change because last year it looked like they actually climbed throughout the year. And I'm very disappointed. I really hope they can fix this and figure it out. But look, ultimately, this is the game. You know, it happens. And sometimes sometimes it doesn't take one upgrade to see the potential. Sometimes it takes another one after that or another one after that for all the pieces to start working together. And then all of a sudden you'll see, okay, that works, cool. And then they move on. So I really hope that they get it together and they get back into that fight because they're still ahead of McLaren. So they technically are still in the fight. If they can just get their cars both running in a perfect place again, then they can keep that fight. They keep that fight going because ultimately, if Perez continues where he is, then it's going to become a McLaren versus Ferrari, potentially versus Mercedes for the constructors. Like, let's be honest. Let
me correct you there. Mercedes versus Ferrari versus McLaren versus
okay.
Max.
Yeah, fair enough. Because if Max just wins every race and they keep taking points off each other, then Max will just get enough points like last year to beat everybody on his own, which is also a possibility. But anyways, let's move on to the moment of the weekend. And I want to start this one because I got a really fun one. Because it was nothing crazy. It was nothing extra. Like, it was not like a feel-good moment or like a really good part of the race that I thought was amazing. I just thought it looked really sick. The slow-mo shot of Lewis Hamilton drifting into the pit lane. The way he drifted.
Oh, wow.
That slow-mo shot just looked so beautiful. How he completely drifted that car. And I just thought that was the most beautiful thing to see. Honestly. And it just goes to show you the skill level of these drivers, specifically Hamilton, because the way he kept that car without spinning it. Oh my goodness, creation. Like, oh my goodness.
And that's a corner being taken at over 230 kilometers an hour. And he's just decided, yeah, I'm going to do a Formula D here. Just
Tokyo Drift. Tokyo Drift, this Formula 1 car. Honestly, that to me, like, the reason why that's my moment of the weekend is just, there's nothing more beautiful. I don't I don't know, like, I know you're a bit younger than me, but I'm sure you've probably played it, but back in the days, Underground 2 were like the jam, right?
Yes.
And there was nothing better than just really drifting your car to the limit to just rack up all those points. And I don't know, there's just nothing more beautiful than seeing an F1 car going plus 200 drifting. It's just a cool, especially the slow-mo part of it. Like, it's one thing to see it, but when you saw it in
that wobble as the car goes, and you can see the drop as his hand comes up out of the cockpit to counter it.
It's beautiful. It was beautiful. Anyways, what is your moment of the weekend, should I say?
One word answer. Ciao. That's my moment of the weekend. Pierre freaking Gasly being an absolute G.
I absolutely love that because it was also such a cold moment. It was just like a slight little bit of a middle finger to Ocon. Just, you know what? You thought that you were going to come. You thought that I was going to come in here and you were just going to sort of be the guy here. But unfortunately, it's my team now. And I'm the boss. I'm the new boss here. So it's just a little bit of I love that. I love that bit of cockiness on him. To be honest, I really enjoyed that. So anyways, let's move into the driver ratings because quite honestly, I'm quite excited for this. I can't see us disagreeing too much, but I'm excited for it because I just feel like there's a lot of things that are about to change because we have quite a couple drivers on par, and I feel like that's going to change, and it's going to change who's the best and who's the worst currently. it might not change who's the worst. Let's be honest. Bottas is still anonymous as hell. But
Yeah, but let's keep the viewers waiting until we hit the summer break episode to tell them where the drivers are. Let's
yeah,
keep them
I
in a
mean,
bit of
we've been
suspense.
doing that. But obviously, when it comes to who's on top, we've been maybe just giving them like the whole, because the whole Piastri thing being on top was quite interesting up until he wasn't on top. But hey,
That might change again.
he might be on top again. Anyways, let's get into it, guys. First of all, we're gonna start with Max, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I know it was his fault, but it's really difficult. It is really difficult to actually grade him here because, again, regardless of it being his fault, right? You got to also think about this. They could have easily just banged wheels like we've seen many times before, and then just carried on racing. It was just unfortunate that it ended in a puncher on both sides, but it could have gone the other way. But ultimately, Max dominated most of the race. The team made the mistake, which put him on the back foot. He defended like an absolute king. Say what you like about his defending maneuvers. If he was getting away with it, it's fair play. It's not his fault. Every driver is going to push the limit, and if they're getting away with it, they're going to keep doing it. It's not his fault. Every driver will do that. So it's really difficult because on one hand, you're like, okay, he ruined, like, between him and Lando, like, they ruined their own races, or he was a big part of them ruining their race. He also got a 10-second penalty. We can't exactly give him a +1. But damn, like, he really showed a lot of worth to give him a minus. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna let you say your say, and I'm probably going to go with what you say anyways. And the only reason why is just simply because at the end of the day, it was still Max's fault. So
Yeah. Okay. That's what my point's going to get to. Again, I completely agree with you that the team put him in that uncomfortable position, and Max defended because, again, Max is Max, and we know he's a hard racer. The thing for me just is, look, I'm not going to say we're giving Max a minus, because there's no way on this planet I'm giving Max a minus for the performance he gave this weekend. I mean, you have to still take into regard pole in both quali sessions and the sprint race win in dominant fashion. That unfortunately still plays a factor. No, not unfortunately. It fortunately still plays a factor. For me, it's just the incident, no matter how you look at it, is Max moved under braking. Yes, we talked about the whole Stewart situation. If you guys want to see that, go check out the race review, because we talked about it in a very big conversation.
yeah,
Point is, Max is the one at fault. And for that reason alone, I can't give Max an up.
Yeah.
So for me, honestly, it's keeping him the same because he still performed so well that it's impossible to give him a minus. But the incident is his fault, so you can't give him a plus. So for me, it stays the same. But not that doesn't mean he did not have a phenomenal weekend. He still had a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, and I think what we need to understand as well, and what people need to realize, is that car is no longer the best car. It just isn't. And for him to continue winning and continue putting that car on the top step when he's consistently under pressure, you got to give it to him, man. He's really showing his worth. And okay, I mean, I guess we can say this weekend it didn't end well. A part of me feels bad for even giving him the same and not giving him a minus, just simply because it was his fault, and simply because he was a bit too aggressive. But again, I think the fact goes back to what I was saying, is that too aggressive or not, Stewart's allowed it. If they allowed it, he will push it, because ultimately that's what drivers do. That's how you win. That's how you become world champions, and that is how you entertain people. That is how the sport becomes entertaining. As I said in the last episode, guys, there's not one person here that watched that and said they weren't entertained, because you'd be lying if you said that. So the reality is, you can complain every single weekend about how boring F1 is. This was racing. This is what we wanted to see, and the fact that it ended the way we ended, we can't stop complaining about that now too. Like, decide what you want. You either want the entertainment or you don't want the entertainment. It's up to you. So for that,
you either want the entertainment or you need to go watch wrestling.
Exactly.
That's scripted.
Yeah, exactly. So in that case, I'm giving Max also, I'm going to keep him at the same. And then, well, I guess we don't need to talk about it. Like, I don't want to. I genuinely do not want to slander him or like it's just too much now. Like, he's on Bottas level. Like, he's literally on Bottas level. Like, I don't know if people know what I'm talking about, but in terms of MVP driver rankings, he's on Bottas level, which currently is almost, it's almost at value 0. Like, I can't keep slandering this guy. I like him. I want him to do well. I want him to be a good second driver. But what I want more than that is for Liam Lawson to get into Formula One. And if Perez continues like this, I put Liam Lawson straight into that Red Bull. Forget RB. There's no, like, let's be honest, guys. Like, I don't want to. This is a driver ratings program. We don't need to we don't need to vent. What's the word? No, man. We don't need to go on we don't need to go on huge tangents. But if there's just one thing that I can say, as much as I love Daniel Ricciardo, there's no point in putting him in a Red Bull. He's never going to win the championship. So it's wasted time. It's a wasted seat to put him there. But Liam Lawson still has a lot of time and a lot of talent. So with that being said, just put Liam Lawson straight into the Red Bull. Forget the RB. Just put him straight into the Red Bull. If Perez is not going to improve. So yeah, look, I'm just gonna put it down here. We probably don't need to discuss it.
Yes. But before you on something that I actually quickly want to mention, okay? And I understand Sainz's view upon this, and that's why he showed Mercedes away. But if I was Red Bull, how do you have Carlos Sainz on the table and not jump at the opportunity? Look, I understand Perez comes with a lot of money and a lot of sponsorship and bloody fish paste. You're at the peak of motorsport. There's a budget cap now. Teams are not struggling with money unless you're Williams or Kick Sauber, which in any case have been bought by Audi. But the point I'm trying to make is, I'm just struggling to understand that you've got a driver the caliber of Carlos Sainz. It's open
literally
gates.
The hottest property in Formula One right now.
Yes, and you're not putting him in that seat.
I'm also not.
Thought process with Perez's current performance, are you like, yeah, I want this guy, but this guy who's a proven race winner, who consistently actually gives Charles Leclerc a run for his money? No, I don't want that. I want the Mexican siesta.
Yeah. I don't. To be honest, as much as I love Christian Horner, I do feel that he's slipping away a little bit. What I mean by that is, ever since everything went down at the start of the year, I feel like he's doing some things to just prove a point rather than to do what's best for the team. Because I can't for the life of me see how this is being the best for the team, and it's so strange because he's gonna damage his reputation. As much as I love him, he's gonna damage his reputation because he's built this team up to what it was. He's surrounded himself with all the best people, and he's done a phenomenal job as a team principal. But he's really starting to tarnish his reputation by allowing the pressure to get to him. Some of the stuff that was said and done, it might not even have been true, but it definitely tarnished his reputation a little bit. But he let it get to him, and now he's got some kind of I don't know if it's a power struggle or what, but he's got some kind of thing where he's now making decisions that just don't make sense. And as a Red Bull fan and as a Horner fan, I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you even doing? It doesn't make sense. This thing with Jos Verstappen, why? Squash the beef. Go to him. Say, what's your problem? Let's deal with it. Stop being a child. Like, just let Jos drive the bloody car. You know, like this things like this. Like, they're being petty, man. They're being petty, and I just don't understand the pettiness of it. And yeah. Anyways, let's get back into the driver rating, guys, because we are going off on a tangent here. Let's get back into the driver ratings. This is a tough one, Charles Leclerc, because we've just complained in the last episode about how it's always him that's getting the wrong end of the stick. And it's really difficult because you can't blame him for most of what happened, except for maybe the bit of damage where he got caught up. But I think it was a bit audacious.
Yeah, but he was.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think it's a bit
But
audacious from like.
I mean, it's the start of the race, and he was the one that actually got the worst pull away off the
Yeah.
grid, and Piastri and Perez closed up on him. Graham, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember any part of this weekend besides one moment in qualifying where he went wide.
Where he made a mistake.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember a single moment other than that where Leclerc made a mistake. In freaking sprint quali, the car just switched off on him in the pit lane. Not his fault. He actually got the car going again, not the team. By the way, just for those of you guys that did not know, that think, no, Ferrari told him what to do. No. He did the opposite of what Ferrari told him to do, and the car got going, and he missed the line with 2 seconds. I honestly, and this is not my Ferrari fanboy speaking now, I can't see a reason to give him a down.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I mean,
because mistake in quali, he did nothing wrong.
I mean, let's be honest. It is the Ferrari fanboy speaking, but I agree with it. it is, but I agree with it.
Stop being sick, man. Get well soon, but stop being sick.
Listen, he can't handle it without you. He needs his Ferrari, mate. But no, look, it is a fanboy talking, but I agree with it. I'm happy to keep him the same because I mean he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Everything went against him, but he didn't really do much wrong himself. So fair play. Carlos Sainz, I'm just gonna kick it off the bat. You got to give him a plus here. I think he.
Yeah, you can't. He freaking performed brilliantly this whole
It's not like
weekend.
he's got the best car at the moment, but he's doing a solid job. He's done a solid job for most of the season. He's had a couple of races here or there where he didn't really do the best, but most of the season he's been pretty on par. Cool.
Yeah,
George Russell, again, you gotta give him a plus. I mean, you can't. I mean,
I just thought you were gonna give Russell banter. I almost thought like we just moved away from not giving Perez banter. Now we're just gonna go on with Russell. I mean, there's nothing to say about Russell this weekend. He again can't think of any place in the weekend where he made a mistake.
Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, he did a damn good job. Again, I think the only thing that frustrates me is that he won, really. And for that, I think we should give him a minus. Because I feel like... I feel like there should be no universe where George Russell wins a race and then gets a plus 1 million on his name. I just don't see that being a thing. So I'm going to give him a minus. And then...
You minus that? I swear I'm hacking your computer and making that an up.
No, I'm just joking. Okay, yeah, let's give George a plus, but let's move on really swiftly because I don't want to talk about it. Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton. Wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Did Lewis have any problems?
Besides the pit lane penalty that he got, Lewis just... I'm going to be honest. Lewis wasn't on Russell's pace this weekend. Lewis was the slower one of the two drivers, but he didn't make
he
mistakes.
Wasn't doing anything.
Besides what we talked about, the awesome drifting moment into the pit lane.
And to be honest, wait, was the penalty for going over the white line or was it for speeding?
Well, when it comes to the pit lane line, if you touch it, it's an immediate penalty. You don't have to exceed it.
That's why I'm asking. Like, did he get the penalty for that, or did he get it for the speeding? Did he get it for the white?
No. Yeah, he got it for the white line. The pit lane speeding was for... I think it was for one of the...
Yeah. Look, I mean, look, I'm not gonna penalize him for that. In my honest opinion, like I get the rule book and all, but honestly, like the man was drifting. What do you want him to do? So
yeah, look, comparing his performance against Russell, I don't think it deserves an up, but he didn't perform so badly that he needs it down. So I think Lewis the
100%
same.
100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. Cool. Lando Norris. Oh, honestly, like, okay, to be fair, we kept Max the same. I think it's only fair to keep Lando the same, but I gotta say this. We didn't mention this in the last episode, but it is a point that needs to be made. I guess we briefly mentioned this. Lando has a lot to learn in the sport. There's a lot like Max in 2021, there's a lot of Max in 2021 that Max had to learn. He had to, Silverstone, for example, was 100% Lewis's fault, but Max could have avoided it. Okay, same
Yes,
with
he could have.
Monza.
That's been my argument
Yeah,
since that day. That's been my
same thing with
argument.
with Monza. I don't think either of them were at fault. I think they were both at fault. But as a Max fan, I'd want Max to have rather avoided it. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I just want to say that for Lando, I'm not going to give him a minus. I'm not going to give him a plus. I'll keep him on the same because I think that's the fair thing to do, considering that we've kept Max at the same. Lando did an extremely good job at catching Max eventually, but also really just giving Max a hard time. But I think the problem that I have and where I think Lando needs to learn is I really feel like Lando was trying way too hard. He was really feeling the pressure. He was dive bombing left, right, and center.
Yeah, he was
He
getting
was getting
desperate.
desperate. He wasn't being calculated. Can I I think I put this out on TikTok and then I'll say it here again for you guys to hear, and I guess if people want to disagree, that's fair. In the sprint race, I understand and I think it was right for Lando to have dived on the inside. I do. And the reason why I say that is in the sprint race, he had to pull the trigger eventually. He was being pressured by his teammate. He was trying to get past Max, and at some point he had to pull that trigger. He didn't have time.
Mm.
But in the main race, he had time. He had about 10 or 11 laps. He had time. The lap before they crashed, he tucked in behind Max, really close, and when they pulled away on the next DRS zone, he got closer. If he just did that for another 2 or 3 laps, he would have been able to be close enough to pass him on that straight, making it an easier pass. Okay, I just think that Lando needs to learn how to bide his time a little bit, and he needs to be a little bit more calculated. And yeah, for that, like again, I'm gonna be fair. Well, I'm gonna keep him the same. That's my opinion. I'm not gonna give him a minus. I'm not gonna give him a plus. But I just wanted to highlight that because I just feel like, yes, it was Max's fault that they had a collision, but I just feel like it could have been avoided from Lando's part as well. That's just my opinion.
Mm. I'm just going to say something quick about this, and I also actually forgot to mention it in the race review. But one thing that people also like, I get your point, and I'm not trying to debate with you about something. I'm just adding on to the conversation. And I'm glad that you mentioned Max in 2021. This is the first time Lando has got a championship winning and race winning car. And no matter how you look at this, yes, F1 is F1, but battling in the midfield and battling at the front is two completely different stories.
Yeah, Sergio Perez can prove that.
Yes, exactly. But more than that, I wouldn't say Lando. I know I just mentioned that he got desperate, but that's referencing the actual moves he was trying to make. The thing is now, Lando needs to start coping with dealing with the pressure, and that only comes with experience. And it's his first time battling at this level consistently. And unfortunately, it's a learning curve. And I just don't want. Yes, Lando could have avoided it most definitely. I will not disagree with that. But I just feel for people, because there's also people that's clutching onto your story and taking it way overboard. And those are the people that I'm actually talking to. It's just you need give Lando the time to build up the experience, allow him to make the mistakes, allow him to learn from them, like Max did against Lewis in 2021. Because look at Max now. You can't compare 2021 Max and 2024 Max. I'm sorry, you can't.
100%.
Allow Lando to make the mistakes. Just remember, his first time in this situation, and unfortunately, to create a diamond, you need pressure.
100%. And I by the way, that's very cheesy, but okay. Anyways, but I completely agree. I don't feel like you've made a debate at all. I think it's a good point. because it is, again, I'm not giving him a minus or anything. I just think that this
Same.
is where he needs to learn. These are the things that he will need to mature on, the same way Max had to. Let's be honest, we're not going to beat around the bush. As much as he did deserve, and I'll say this wholeheartedly, as much as he did deserve a championship in 2021, it did also get gifted to him. If you consider how it happened.
Thank you. I'm clipping it.
Hey, I've said this on this podcast before, so I mean, come on.
Not when I was part of it. Not when I was part of it. It's the first time I've heard you muttered those
okay,
words.
but the point I'm trying to make is, like, he did the way it. Okay, let me put it to you like this: he did deserve to win the championship, but the way he won it was not the right way to win it. But again, even Lewis said he would have done the same thing. So ultimately, it's not
Yes,
like Max
absolutely.
did anything wrong. He just saw the opportunity. He took the opportunity. He won the championship. The point I'm trying to get to is, even though Max 2021 also had a lot to learn, if it weren't for the bit of massive mistakes, he wouldn't have won that championship. He would have had to do it again in 2022. He would have had to try again in 2022. So ultimately, at the end of the day, Lando does need that time. He does need to make those mistakes. He does need to learn who he's actually up against, because Max is not just a normal racer. He is up against a so-called potential GOAT of Formula One. And I think it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of thought and I don't know, a little bit of brains to actually figure out how he's going to actually beat Max. So yeah, he's gonna make mistakes. And Max is probably gonna make mistakes trying to defend Lando, because Lando was putting a lot of pressure on. Lando was really going at him. But I feel like the same way as Silverstone 2021, the person in front of you that you are attacking is a certain championship winner previously, or whatever the case may be. So it's on you to. He's proven himself already, so it's on you to prove that you can be better, right? So in the sense of, like, in 2021, yes, it was Lewis's fault, but it's Max's job to prove that he's the better driver here, because honestly, he's racing against the 7-time world champion. It's the same with Lando. He's racing against a 3-time world champion. It's his time to prove that he can be a better driver. So rather him be the one to try and avoid it than Max being the one that ends up making the big mistake. I'm not saying that Lando made big mistakes or whatever. I'm just saying this could have been avoided if he made the right decisions. But anyways, okay, Oscar Piastri. We'll just give him a +1. Like, we don't need to beat around the bush.
Yes,
From 8th to 4th to 2nd.
Oscar.
Can't complain about that. Well played. Whew. I'm not gonna lie, I'm giving a minus to both the next, and it's not because of them. It's just because the car was so bad they could do nothing with it. Is it fair to give them a minus? I don't know. You'll tell me. Alonso and Stroll. What are your thoughts?
Okay, Stroll, actually, it's a slight disagreement, but just hear me out. Stroll, actually, I would keep him the same. Stroll really, he did everything he could this weekend, and I know I am the leading flag carrier of just get Lance Stroll out of F1. But he really had a solid weekend. Not any mistakes that I can recall, and he did the best he could. Almost got points. But again, in Alonso's not defense, in Alonso's case, I would actually go with a minus.
Yeah.
He didn't have any pace throughout the weekend, and he almost sent Joe to Narnia. So for my personal opinion, I would keep Stroll the same for once, and give my hero of all heroes, Nando, a down.
Fair enough. I'll accept that. I'm quite happy with that. Then we move over to RB. Again, Sonoda. Oh, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know where he was this weekend. We got to give him a down, I think. Like, honestly, calling people funny names, which on live television, you're gonna get. I mean, let's be honest. We knew that at some point Sonoda was gonna get in trouble for his mouth. Like, we just knew, and that day has come. But I'm not giving a minus for that. he was just absolutely nowhere this weekend. And I know that the car is not the best, but Ricardo made something out of it for once. For once, it was Ricardo that made the best out of it. So yeah, for that,
Yes.
I'm giving Yuki a down, which is really strange. Can I assume that you are going to give Ricardo a plus, right? Surely, because okay,
Yes, I'm actually for once not going to give you a hard time about Ricardo because, like I said in
yeah,
the race review, he honestly
but
impressed me this weekend
yeah,
for getting that car in the positions that he did with how horrible it
yeah,
was. I can remember, especially at practice one and practice two, Ricardo and Yuki complained. Okay, not complained, but they just couldn't figure
yeah,
anything out. And look at that, however way you want. Ricardo got
yeah,
points
100%.
in that in that tractor. It's nothing but a plus for Daniel.
100%. But you know what? Why I asked you, and the reason why I asked it you like that, a very interesting stat here, and I can see the pattern. The last couple of races, Yuki has struggled. He's struggled. So, for example, in Monaco, Yuki was sitting at his peak, which was at 8 million worth. Moving on to the next race, he went to 7. Moving on to the next race, he went to 6. Bear in mind, we've missed 1 or 2 races. But in all the episodes that we've done over the last 4 episodes, he's gone down every single episode by 1 million. So we've given him a down every episode in the last 4 episodes. Currently, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda are both on 5, which when you look at how the first 5 or 6 races went, you would kind of feel like Tsunoda was going to end up demolishing Ricciardo. And although by points he probably still is, in terms of our rankings and how we've rated the drivers, which is somewhat similar to power rankings but just in our own way, Daniel's actually not having a bad season, and Yuki's not having as good as a season as we thought it was going to be after the first 5 or 6 races.
No, I will second you on that. That's very
So
true. I've been very disappointed in
yeah,
Yuki since Monaco. He's just it's as if nothing he's
yeah.
trying is working.
Yeah, but I guess we also need to look at ourselves at some point and also maybe like just think like, are we being biased in certain ways? I mean, obviously we can't say we're being biased to Ricardo. I'm literally one Ricardo lover between the 3 of us, so it's majority rules. At the end of the day, like if you guys want to vote him down, you can. Like it's got So ultimately, it's not like we're being biased towards him or whatever, giving him better performing whatever. But with Yuki, I think we might need to just like think like, is it him or is it the car? Because the car has also become worse. So we need to talk about that. But for now, yeah, Yuki was just nowhere this weekend in comparison to his teammates. So he definitely deserves to be going down. Alex Albon. Ooh. Plus.
Actually, I've got an interesting point here for Alex. And yes,
Yeah,
it's a plus.
I think it was a plus as well.
The RBs, the Saubers as usual, and the Williams, but the Williams, there were certain parts of that race where the Williams were flying, and unlike a certain Logie Bear, Albon made some incredible moves in that race. And I realized one was for P18 on Leclerc. Okay. Hashtag broken crying emoji. But Albon was just on fire and he pulled every 10th of a second out of that car that he could. And I can't fault Alex. He really, really, after the past few race weekends where it seemed like he was just ahead of Logan. This weekend, it felt like the Alex of last year. So for me, it's an up for
100%. I agree with that. And with Logan, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, at least he didn't crash. I mean, we can at least just keep him the same for that because, okay, look, okay, let's not be too harsh, right? Okay, it's not like Williams are the best car. Okay, they're definitely one of the worst cars. Okay, we know that. Sargent is just not Albon. We know that. Can we keep giving him drop in value because he's not as good as Albon? Because that just happens. I mean, Perez is not as good as Max, but sometimes we give Perez the plus, sometimes we keep him the same. It just depends on the performance. The performance is relative to him as a driver. Logan's performance in Austria it probably wasn't his worst, simply because he didn't crash. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, to be honest, I just don't know with him. I don't know. I never know what to do with him because you you never know. You never know if it's a Max and so you never know if it's that Max versus Perez situation where Albon is just here and Logan is just here. Because if it is, we can't just say, Logan needs to get a minus because he just simply isn't on Albon's level. But at the same time,
So
yeah.
I understand your point. The thing for me is just Logan was almost lapped by Albon.
Yeah, okay, -1. Cool, let's move on. I didn't even
So
notice that.
you
I didn't
understand
even
my
notice
point.
that.
I see your point. Like, if the car's crappy and Alex is beating him because Alex,
He's
no
just
matter
better.
how you look at it, is the better driver, then I understand you can't keep giving him a down. But he almost got lapped by his teammate that wasn't even fighting. Well, that wasn't even in the points. He was trying to fight for points, but he wasn't even in the
Okay, fair enough.
points. And the two leading cars retired.
Yeah, fair enough. So -1 then. By the way, it's like 31-0 or something to Alex. 33-0.
No,
I mean, what race are we on now? 11 or 12? Or
I think we're on race 10, if I'm not
it's like
mistaken.
33-0 or something like that between the two. It's ridiculous. That's like I'm sure there's going to be a stat that comes out soon that this is going to be like the biggest beating of all time between teammates. Surely, like, this is ridiculous. Anyways, I don't.
Yeah, I think it's very close to passing Alonso and Van Dorn.
Probably, yeah. And to be quite honest with you, I think Sargent is not only becoming a Latifi but worse. So.
Wait for one of the tracks. He's gonna miss a corner and just like Latifi ask what happened there. Oops.
Well, look, if there's gonna be a title fight, I'm just saying, Max is in that fight. So come the end of the year, I'm sure Logan is on speed dial. Let's be honest.
Has no. Has Norris found his Latifi?
Oh yes, yeah. Hey, let's listen. I know I was saying in the last episode that as soon as conspiracies start, I'm out. But why don't we start one? Because I'm just saying. Anyways, we got to spice things up. Anyways, let's move on to Pierre Gasly, +1. I just for that charm moment. Just for that charm moment.
Not even that. He. Yes, him and Ocon were close for most of the race, but when it came down to the nitty gritty part, Gasly outshined Ocon again. So for me, it's easy up.
I agree. But with being said, I don't think Ocon did badly. I'm going to keep him at the same. I think he did a pretty solid job. As for somebody that really doesn't like him, I will admit that he actually did a pretty good job today. So well done. Today? Yesterday. Anyways, Kevin Magnussen.
Honestly, Graham, both these drivers deserve an up. They both were in the points. They were with each other the whole race, and they were both pressuring Perez at the end. I can't see how you can give any of them a down. And their team radio was absolute.
I agree.
Gold.
And can I say that Haas is also looking on the up here? Hey, like they genuinely are looking on the up.
To a team that said that they are loose hands going to be the slowest car for the entire season by the time the testing was done. Well done, Haas.
100%.
Well done, Haas. They're doing something finally.
Like, it's also like we also got to point out, it's not one of those things where they were saying it because they wanted to save face or save the embarrassment if they were last. Yeah, because they said that I think they genuinely thought they were going to be at the back. I think they genuinely thought they were going to be worse because considering all the management changes, considering the previous year. And they hadn't made too many changes to the car for this year, and it's the same regulations. Like, I think they genuinely believed they were going to be the worst car. I don't think they said it because they wanted to save themselves from being embarrassed. I think they genuinely believed it. So yeah, I mean, well done. I think they've tried some things this year. The two drivers are really working well together. Let's be honest. They have worked extremely well together. And they're doing what any mid to low field car would do. Take risks, make a difference, do different things, try things. Because ultimately, if they try things, they will end up at some point, it will end up working, getting points. And at the end of the day, when Sauber's getting no points and Williams is getting no points, that makes the difference. I think Haas are ahead. I think Haas are
Yes.
ahead of Alpine, if I'm really honest. But anyways,
But now that you talked about the change in strategy, they pitted after, I think, lap 8. They were the first two cars on the pit lane, and everybody's like, wow, this is early. Are they doing a 3-stop or what? They still did a 2-stop, but they said, okay, we're going to be slow. Fresh tires on this track is absolutely amazing on pace. Let's just try and get an undercut. Maybe something happens. And lo and behold, 7th and 9th. No, sorry, 6th and 8th.
Just trying different things. That's all it takes for them, and they've done it a couple times. Canada was a big one, and to be honest, Canada, it worked. Certain things were unfortunate, but it did work. They did gain their ground, and there is a lot of like data that explains how it actually did work. But anyways, that's a chat we should have had long ago. But the point is, they are trying things, and it's working. So well done. Joe and Bottas, I just never know because they just nowhere.
The 2 honorary F2 cars in F1.
I don't know how.
Even besides the of sunlight,
I think
the
I
green,
saw Joe once. Like generally, like
and that's what punted him into Narnia.
Yeah, probably. That's pretty much. Yeah, I just genuinely. I don't know how to rate this team because like like clearly the car is just terrible, but you know it's not like the drivers are doing anything extravagant
Honestly,
either. So
I think we should just keep them the same because we can't say anything about them. They
Bottas
try.
is really scraping it here. You know Bottas currently on our MVP ratings. Bottas is the equivalent to Magnussen battling FIA. You know, like the whole conspiracy of nobody will ever get a race ban because FIA won't allow it. Like we are just never going to give Bottas a 0 rating because he's been sitting on 1 for the last 3 or 4 races here now. But ultimately, I don't think it's wrong. I think at the end of the day, we can't just grade them down if they've got such a terrible car. We got to grade them down for doing dumb things and being bad. But it's very clear that they have a bad car. So yeah, I don't know. I think we'll just keep them the same. I'm happy with that. Cool. That's the driver ratings, guys. Well, we said at the beginning, things were going to change again, which it has. But you know what? I'm going to spare you the suspense. No, I'm not going to spare you the suspense. I'm going to give you the suspense. And I'm going to tell you, well, I'm not going to tell you how it's changed. So you'll have to wait. And if you really want to know, you can watch the episode that we do mid-season and at the end of the season to find out exactly what's going on with the MVP sort of power rankings in our own way. Gents, thank you, and ladies, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. We would really, really, really appreciate it. And Dirk, once again, thank you so much for having this chat with me. It's been great. And until next time, we'll see you guys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.